Alright guys, so it's your boy Tracer here finally again, bringing you the goo. As you can see from the title of the video, your boy got second place at the OTS championship qualifier thingy. So for the first time ever playing this game, and just like recently, I got my invite with my favorite deck of all time, being Dragon Link. Quick rundown of the matches before we get into the goo. I played against Sword Soul round 1, lost, got 2-0'd like in 10 minutes. It was sad. Round 2 I 2-0'd Sword Soul. Round 3 I played against Trevor Liarlist. I took it 2-1. Round 4 I played against Heroes, took it 2-1. Round 5 I played against Sword Soul again, took it 2-1. And then top 8, which was when I was in top 8, I played against my buddy, took it against Dinosaurs, took it 2-1. So I was already guaranteed my invite after beating him. Top 4, then finally I played against Heroes and I took it 2-1. And then I lost in the finals to Sword Soul. Lost 1-2. I took game 2 off of him. Game 1, I didn't open any hand traps, and Baron Chisha with Icarus attack and like 2 chalices were just super strong. And yeah. The deck performed really well. There's like little to nothing I would change in the list. There is going to be some modifications that I will be making to the deck, just because I do have like case tourneys coming up, and like the OTS is more or less like a week only after, I believe, after Bode, and like the format hadn't solidified fully around like all the best decks that we have now, and I've waited a little bit to post the profile I have here. So yeah, there's going to be updates to this deck, so if you guys want to see that, let me know, and I'll put that out for you guys too. So for the main deck, it's a crisp 40, finally. Triple Tracer, 1 Recharger, 2 Synchron, 2 Abzo, super standard at this point. Only thing I'd say isn't quote-unquote standard is some people are still playing 2 Tracer. I think that's incorrect, just because you always want to have access to this card by either hard opening it or like quick launching it, and opening multiples is never really that bad, because it just means you open that, which is kind of the game plan of the deck at this point. And then it makes Romulus a choke point if they hand trap you there and you don't have access to this card already, because now you're not allowed to send Romulus to the graveyard, not Romulus, Abzerad to the graveyard with the Ravine to get access to the Tracer. Yeah, that's it for the Rockets. For the normal summons, we played triple Starlight Seyfried and then 1 Chamber. As you guys know from the channel in the past, I was always a big fan of like 2 Chamber, 2 Seyfried. But for this event, I decided to play 1 Chamber only. And I've been playing this ratio now for like a week or so, a little over, and I have fallen in love with this new ratio. I was originally at 42, but like I kept drawing Chambers, Tidings, and like the field spells, and I was like, dude, I can't do this. I can't play like this at the OTS. So I decided like a day before at like when I'm at locals, to cut the Tiding and the third Tiding and the second Chamber to play just the standard ratio, and like it's just basic at this point. This card is cracked. I love seeing this card, and then summoning the Chamber sometimes like as a normal summon with like a knock, that was just always really good, because it was at least minimum like fierce Tiding if you got interrupted, or if you didn't open this like the strongest hand to play through like multiple interruptions. Then for the extenders, the babies, standard, Red Med. I know some lists don't play this. I still think you should, just because it's a really good Spheres target to like continue comboing after you get nibbed. I'm not playing Black Metal, and that's just because I don't like Black Metal. It's a good normal summon, don't get me wrong, but I hate the fact like playing multiple Black Metal. I'm playing this because it makes it, if you have like if you have access to this already and like no Black Metals, you're essentially now playing your deck with 3 bricks, being like 3 Black Metals that you have in your deck lying around for nothing. And it also just makes your ruler mills a lot worse, which I hate. Like I tested the Black Metals, and like ruler milling like multiple Black Metals, you really don't want to grab them, especially if you already have access to Red Metal in the deck. It's just better to play this than no Black Metal, personally. You can play the Black Metal if you can't afford the Chamber. I'd suggest it, but it's gotten a reprint already at this point, and I think it's only like 20 bucks. But I recommend this over the Black Metal. But yeah, that's just me personally. Yeah. Levy, standard, it's the boy. You need to play this card. And then 2 Nocto. Some people play 3, I play 2. 2 of all the like really good extenders, quote unquote, just Abzo and Nocto. You can max this out by just cutting the Red Med. So if you're a fan of 3, you can play 3. For the hand traps, the only monster ones I played were triple Effect Veiler and then triple Nibiru. These in the main were just mainly for Sortel and Drytron. I didn't face a lot of I didn't face any single Drytron. I literally just played like 4 Sortel. I played 3 in Swiss and then 1 in top 8, top in like the finals. But this card was like, this was insane. Against combo and like the controlled the combo decks I played too in like Swiss, just having this with like my initial end board or having like a Veiler was just really strong. Or having multiple Veilers with like Fierce Tiding was just always really good. Or having multiple lines of interruption was just phenomenal. And again, Sortel, just opening Veiler like Nib made it where like they committed their whole board, like summoning Protos, Baron, Chisha, Blackout on the summon of Protos. You just attempt to Nib, they chain Baron, you Veiler, and it was just always money. It's just so cheesy. I did that to my opponent in finals twice. So it's just really good. For the spells, finally, we played a triple E-Tele, triple Chaos Space, and then 2 field spell. This is just the standard stuff that every Rocket deck should be playing. Rocket deck. Every Dragon Link deck should be playing at this point. Like, there's a little ton of theory behind it, just super basic bread and butter. It's like you play at these ratios because they're like the best ratios to play. And then for the other spell I played, I decided to main for the event Triple Tactics. This card is actually phenomenal. It came up a lot. Most of my games, like, I'd be getting hand trap left and right, or having to play through interruptions, you know, like, especially against Sortel. Like, if you can bait out the Baron, you can just take the Triple Tactic, the Chisha, and then you're only having like 1 card, let's say, and then you just Baron pop the Chisha, and it makes it now where their Icarus attack is usually dead if they don't have another worm to play with. So it's just always really strong for that point. The draw 2, and then especially the hand knowledge you would get turn 1 if you open this and you like get combo, you can play through like interruptions. It's just always really cheese. Like, this card is cracked. I love it in the main. Moving forward though, I might not main this card, and I might play more hand traps just because there were times like the Chaos Roller mills, you'd be milling the Tactic, and it was just kind of depressing, and it could have been like another hand trap to get. So yeah. And then for the traps, 2 Tiding, standard. For the only final one we played was Infinite Impermanence, and this is just strictly for Sortel, Winda, and like all those like really hard to, and like DPE as well. But unfortunately, I didn't play against any like decks that made DPE at all, or if they didn't summon it. And like against Sortel, this was just free money, like just Moye, Chisha, and like the Baron interaction, like I told you guys about with Nibiru. It was just really good. That's it for the main deck. It was a crisp 40. Like, there's little to nothing I would change. Maybe the hand trap ratio counts. Some of the hand traps I would change. But besides that, like, the deck did pretty well, and there are some stuff I'm going to be changing, like I told you guys I would. For the extra deck now, the basic stuff, the 1 striker, bread and butter, Pisty. This came up a little bit. Quad Boral, Romulus, IP, and then double Hieratic Spheres. All this is standard at this point. Like, you can't play dragons without any of these. And then for the Link 3s, Triple Burst, and then Unicorn. These 2 came up. Some end boards I would just leave on Triple Burst, like a dragon and a Tiding, and like 2 hand traps. It was still enough. You could just Triple Burst tribute it during the next turn and like reborn the striker and keep going. And then Unicorn, because Sphere's IP is really cheesy. After the Link 4s that I played, Axis, Sword, and then Apo. I made Axis more than Sword. Sword came up once when I was locked in to dragons with Pisty, but besides that, like, Axis was always just the OTK enabler. I might cut this for something else. Apo didn't come up at all, just mainly because I only wanted this card strictly for Drytron. You make this against Drytron with like a Savage, and it's usually just game. And these 2 are just your OTK enablers. I might consider playing Xenophon, the Sky Prison, over the Boral Sword, but again, I'd have to test that out first for a bit and then see if I like it or not. And then for the Synchros, Savage, Papega, and Hot Red, and then Jaden Token. Yeah, super standard again. Like, there's not a lot of in-depth theory behind any of this. Next, the side deck. The extra, again, Chris 15. For the side. For the monster hand traps that I played Triple Bird. This card is just really good this format. I think it's just been really good for the last past 3-4 formats at this point. Like, this card is phenomenal. Came up against Swords a little bit, opening it with like Lance, with the next card, which is Artifact Lancia, that I played as well. That was really good. This card is like hit or miss right now, I think, and I've been kind of opting of not playing it, but it's also, I do want to play it mainly for Sword Soul, like Jadal Invoke, Dogmatica decks, Eldritch variants, and like all this other stuff that I'm seeing around like my local areas. But other than that, for the event, like this card really didn't come up that much. That's for the monsters that I played. For the spells, I played quite a few. I played triple twin and then just triple Dark Ruler. This is just Dark Ruler just for the crazy big end boards, and we did have like some rogue combo decks coming in. Like dinosaurs are the relevant threat that I didn't want to play against that much, so having this against this deck was really good. Twin was like literally not present in my main deck at all because I played zero control, just all combos, so just this and like the hand traps coming in and doing the work. And then the final card that I played was a purple card, which was evenly matched. My theory behind evenly matched was just I wanted another card that would go well with the Dark Ruler, and that was just evenly. And then, you know, theory crafting as well, it made it against control. I'd have 6 cards being the 3 twin, the 3 evenly, and against combo I'd have the 6 going second, being 3 Dark Ruler and 3 evenly as well. So these cards were interchangeable. Like these 3 with any of these 6 were interchangeable depending on if I'm playing against control or if I'm playing against combo. There's just really something, you know, that I thought about like last minute, literally day of the OTS. I was at McDonald's filling out my deck list. I think I was playing, what was I playing before? I think I was playing like IO Duster and like some other stuff. I'm like, no, I can't do that. So I just put the 3 evenly and like, and I wrote out my list, and that was it. But yeah, that was it for the goo, for the list. That's a good deck. There's not a lot of theory behind it. The deck is super solid, super simple at this point. It's like butter, crack. Little to nothing. My favorite deck of all time. So I'm really glad I got my invite with my favorite deck. Sadly, I didn't get it with LP. I had to get it with just Pissy, but you know, that's fine. You gotta do what you gotta do sometimes. Yeah, and I will be updating the deck soon. You know, just testing some stuff out, just so you guys get an insight. I'm probably gonna be playing these hand traps now in the main deck, cutting some stuff out and working with some other ratios. I might not play this honestly, just because I currently don't think this card is that good in the format. Doesn't really hurt all the really like tier 1 decks that much, and like this deck doesn't really have an issue against a rogue. It's mainly just the more like aggressive combo decks you have to play against, and this card doesn't do it again. This card doesn't do enough against those combo decks, and like, yeah. But anyway, that's your boy Tracer. See you guys.